My name is Rachel Morgan. When I married Ethan Carter, it wasn't out of love. It wasn't even out of choice. It was survival. My stepmother pushed me into it, convincing me that this was the only way to secure my future. Ethan's family was wealthy. Mine was drowning in debt. But I refused to be anyone's property. So when Ethan leaned close before signing the marriage papers and said, "Don't worry, sweetheart. I don't need a wife, and you don't need a husband. We'll live together, but I'll never touch you," I agreed. That was the only reason I said yes. We had a contract, no intimacy, no pretending, no obligations. Just two strangers under one roof. Our marriage was silent. He worked late, often coming home past midnight. I stayed in my room, reading or writing in my journal. We didn't share meals. We didn't share words. We didn't even share glances if we could help it. To the world, we looked like a married couple. But inside the house, we were strangers bound by paper and silence. And for me, that was enough. At least I had my dignity. At least I had my space. Until the night he broke it. It was supposed to be just another quiet evening. I had changed into a simple nightdress, ready to sleep. The house was quiet until I heard the door slam. His footsteps echoed in the hallway, uneven, heavy. My chest tightened. The door burst open. Ethan stood there, his tie loosened, his shirt untucked, the smell of alcohol filling the air. His eyes were glassy, his lips twisted in a half-smile. "Rachel," he slurred, "you're my wife. Why do you always hide from me?" My stomach dropped. My mind screamed. "You promised," I whispered, backing away. But he didn't listen. He stumbled closer, his hand brushing against my shoulder. Then, with clumsy fingers, he reached for the zipper of my blouse. Cold fear shot through me. My body froze, but my heart raced. "Stop," I cried, shoving him with all the strength I had. "You swore you wouldn't, don't you dare." For a moment, something shifted in his eyes. The fog of alcohol cleared, just enough for him to see the terror on my face. His hands dropped. His expression twisted not in anger, but in shame. Without a word, he stumbled back and left the room, slamming the door behind him. I collapsed onto the bed, shaking, tears pouring down my cheeks. That night, I hated him more than anyone I had ever hated in my life. The next morning, I expected him to act like nothing happened, to smirk, to tease, to be the arrogant man I knew. But he didn't. He didn't look at me. He didn't speak to me. He didn't even stay in the same room as me. He slept on the couch downstairs. I heard him tossing at night, the creak of the springs echoing in the silence. And for the first time, I saw no whiskey bottles on the counter. No smell of alcohol on his clothes. Instead, small, quiet things began to change. When I caught a cold, I found medicine on the nightstand. When I burned my hand cooking, I found a box of bandages on the counter the next morning. When I limped with a twisted ankle, he appeared silently at my side and carried me to the couch. His arms steady and careful. He didn't say a word. He didn't touch me without need, but his actions spoke louder than apologies ever could. One night, I couldn't hold it in anymore. "Why are you doing this?" I asked, my voice trembling. He froze, his hands tightening around the bandage he was wrapping on my ankle. Then slowly, he looked up at me. His gray eyes weren't sharp this time. They were tired, broken. "Because I hurt you," he whispered. "Because I broke the only promise I made. I don't expect you to forgive me, Rachel. But I can't live with myself if I don't try to make it right." My throat tightened. I wanted to stay angry. I wanted to remind him of the fear he put in me that night. But all I saw in his eyes was shame. Real, raw shame. And maybe something else. Weeks passed. Slowly, the walls I had built around myself began to crack. One evening, the power went out. The house was plunged into darkness. I lit a candle and found Ethan sitting alone at the dining table, his face caught in the flickering glow. For a long time, neither of us spoke. Then he whispered, "Rachel, if I could take back that night, I would. I don't deserve your kindness, but I'll spend the rest of my life proving I can change. Just give me the chance." His voice shook, and for the first time, I saw him not as the arrogant man I had married, but as someone broken, someone trying. Tears filled my eyes. Slowly, I reached across the table and placed my hand over his. He stiffened, then relaxed. "I don't want promises," I whispered. "I just want honesty. Respect. If we can have that, maybe we can start again." In the flickering candlelight, he smiled soft, fragile, hopeful. And in that moment, I knew something had changed. From that night, things were different. Ethan didn't rush me. He didn't push. Instead, he showed up in small ways. Making coffee in the morning, fixing the leaky faucet, cooking breakfast that turned out half-burned, but made me laugh anyway. We really talked for the first time. About childhoods, about mistakes, about loneliness. And in those conversations, I found pieces of him I had never seen before. Not the arrogant son of a wealthy man, not the reckless drunk, but Ethan, the man who wanted to be better. And slowly, impossibly, my heart began to soften. When I look at Ethan now, when I see the man who turned shame into respect, who replaced arrogance with care, who learned to love without breaking boundaries, I know the truth. Yes, love can grow, even from silence, even from mistakes, even from one night that changed everything.